Hey, Jay.
Okay, so nothing interesting happened in the land of politics at all. Um, I don't really know. Let's see here. Can we and this is probably all outdated from what 2 days ago that I wrote this.
No, they're still talking about it. It's all still up to date. He was talking about it today after Jimmy Carter's funeral.
Oh God.
So, yeah, for
Oh,
those that missed that, all of the living sitting presidents were all at Jimmy Carter's funeral. There was a lot of attention paid to some of the video, and we'll get into that later. But they were all at Jimmy Carter's funeral today. So Trump was there, Obama, Bush, Clinton, all of them. So anyway, why don't you talk about what our soon to be president's up to this week?
oh God. Let's see here. So he talked about literally a land grab. Quote, you get rid of that artificially drawn line and you take a look at what that looks like. Talked about January 6th making made quote major pardons to a lot of the people that were facing charges or did face charges on January 6th because that is what he does. If you have his back, he has your back. He called out Hamas, quote, if those hostages aren't back, dot dot dot, by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East and it will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. Uh, yeah, he doubled down on the Panama Canal.
Mhm.
Um, asked when he was asked directly whether we would rule out using military or economic coercion to get the Panama Canal, he said, "quote No, I can't assure you on either of those two, but I can say this: we need them for economic security, whatever the hell that means." Let's see here. I don't know. It's a never-ending line. He said Denmark should give up their control of Greenland, or it would also have to face steep tariffs. He also suggested the people of Greenland should vote for independence or to join the United States. He wants to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. I don't know. He said windmills are quote littering our country and compared them to quote dropping garbage in a field. I I'm not, yeah, there was that. I don't even know what that means. Let's hear. And then also because Mark Zuckerberg kind of came out and it seems like he tried to suck up to Daddy Trump and also Daddy Elon. And in case you don't know, Facebook is getting rid of all fact checkers on Facebook and
Mhm.
Instagram. So Trump commented on that, saying that quote Mark has come a long way. So it looks like he's becoming friends with Mark Zuckerberg, and yeah, there's so much garbage
And
that
he's
came out.
not even in office yet.
He's not even in office, and it's literally the thing that I heard it and I was like, "Oh, that's funny. Like, that can't be real." And then you watch the, video and you're like and it really kinda seems like he during the press conference, he was like, "How much shit can I just dump into this one press conference?" Um, and he went on to, make really weird comments about water dripping out of faucets. I don't freaking know. Um, but yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this, Alex? There's so much to take in here.
So I like to break it into constituent parts, right? Like themes, right? Mise en scène, if you will. Okay. Um, let's talk about Palestine real fast. I heard this quote this week, and I think it's an apt quote, right? Trump says he's going to make it hell on earth, and the Palestinians are looking around, going, "I'm sorry, what now? It can't be worse." Like, what are you gonna do? That's my thing on that particular negotiating tactic that he's using. What are you gonna do? The Israelis already did it. It's done. There are no more hospitals in Gaza. They've moved into the West Bank. They've literally fired shit at Iran, Syria, Lebanon, anybody that got even a little bit squirrely with them. Okay? What are you gonna do? Like seriously. So I on the Hamas thingy, I'll be honest, I don't think he's gonna do squat because I think he's a paper tiger, and I think that he's just gonna. I there's nothing left to do. That's it. You've done it, right? Okay. He has 11 days until he takes office. They're not going to get. If anything, the Israelis might just agree to a ceasefire just to agree to a ceasefire, but it has nothing to do with him or anything else. I don't know. This weird manifest destiny expansionism shit he's on with Panama and Canada and Greenland. One, Canada is still a Commonwealth country. Like, they would have to go through the process of leaving the Commonwealth of the United Kingdom because they have a monarch right now. His name's King Charles. He's already there. Like, I don't even know what that process would look like, right? And even the new guy, because Trudeau resigned, right? So the guy they think that the leader of the Conservative Party in Canada is like, no. You're not going to take over Canada. You can keep talking. No. So, and again, I honestly don't think the Danes are going to give up Greenland. But did you see that Don Jr. went to Greenland?
Oh, I did not.
No, yeah. Don Jr.'s been in Greenland all week doing photo ops with whoever he can con into putting on a MAGA hat. Okay, in Greenland. Panama, I can see him trying some crap. It is a important strategic point, right? You don't want to go all the way down around. It's the only way to go through. The Panama Canal needs upgrades. It's actually in pretty bad shape right now. It can't handle most of the major super tankers anymore. The ships are too big, and it wasn't designed for them. None of this has anything to do with the price of eggs. He's been saying the same shit about windmills for a while. And of course, Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos and all those motherfuckers are kissing the ring. That's what they're doing. That's why Trump likes TikTok now. Because I'm very popular on TikTok. They love me over on the TikToks. So no, we shouldn't shut down the TikTok. They should sell to an American company. ByteDance isn't going to sell them. Sorry.
Yeah.
They came out today. No, Greenland. Yeah, Greenland will not let themselves be part of the U.S. And did you see Denmark's response?
No, I did not.
Yeah, the Prime Minister of Denmark said, well, since everything in America is for sale to include the presidency of the United States, we'd be happy to buy the United States. We think with our socialized medicine and our social safety nets and things like that, we could really transform and make America great. Not again, just great.
Oh.
Okay. I don't know who is putting this shit in his head. Because it's not him. It is the people around him who are feeding him shit. This is the way it's always been with Don. Okay? He doesn't come up with these ideas on his own.
Are we sure about that?
Yeah. Oh, I'm 100% sure. 100%. I had a friend who, this is before Donnie Boy got into politics. Please keep in mind, I'm in my 40s, so, I remember the time when he was just on Celebrity Apprentice and had stuff. I had a friend who was on Wall Street when Trump was trying to refinance properties. This is before his political days. And most of the street wouldn't deal with him. That's why he ended up going to Deutsche Bank. Because they were the only ones. They were shady as fuck. Notice Deutsche Bank was sanctioned for, money laundering for drug cartels. They're the ones who would deal with him. Right? Because he's nuts. Yeah, somebody's feeding him these ideas. I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's Elon or Flynn or who the hell it is.
Yeah.
Do you honestly think, Jay, that before a week ago, he spent any amount of time thinking about the Panama Canal? before somebody said China's using it to him.
Well, I'm not really sure how the lizard people race really think. You know, like I don't really know like what goes through their minds, like how thoughts are formed. Um, but yeah, I could see it. I could so also kind of like tying this into what was that called? Project 2025 because he had nothing to do with that, right? That document, that like
No.
400-page
Mm-mm.
garbage.
Yeah, that was the Heritage
So
Foundation.
so someone, obviously a group of people came together and did that.
Yeah,
So there are crazy people out there in
sure.
America. It's not just
So
uh, Donald Trump.
the Heritage Foundation put out a similar document before every presidential election since their inception. It's usually called like the Mandate for Leadership or some other goofball fucking term. The Heritage Foundation is a bog standard right wing think tank, right? That's what they do. And they are one of those think tanks that help funnel people into government. What the Heritage Foundation figured out after Trump's first term was, and Trump admitted this himself, they didn't know what the hell they were doing. So what the Heritage Foundation has spent 4 years doing while Biden was in office was setting this up. Project 2025, the biggest thing they did that nobody talked about was they had this whole website set up for recruitment, right? They knew they needed to staff the government quickly so they could start enacting the agenda, right? Project 2025 actually had disagreements in and of itself because it was a lot of right-wing people trying to decide how far they want to take this, right? But it's all about staffing and getting the administration into a position to do the things that the right-wing project people want to do, right? So he had nothing to do with it. The Heritage Foundation did. That's why I say he doesn't think up these ideas. Somebody's feeding him. So again, as far as the land grab stuff, like, I don't know, Don, are you ready to go to war? Like, seriously, like, and I don't think you are. I don't think you have the stomach for it. And furthermore, I don't think the American people do right now either. You want to watch your approval rating drop into the 20s? Attack Denmark. What are you going to do? Invade Canada? I don't even know what happens when you invade a fellow NATO country. Like,
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't know. Because it's insane. And no one would think of doing it. Except you. But I don't think you actually want to do it. Because I think you're a chicken.
Yeah. He also, I'm sure everyone knows this, but he also called out NATO countries as well, stating that they should pay 5%, not 2%, and that they're taking advantage of the U.S. Military defense system. But
So this is another thing that drives me absolutely up the wall. Because it just shows that Trump does not know what he's talking about. Nobody pays NATO. It's not them paying their bills. The agreement amongst the NATO countries is that they will spend 2% of their GDP, right? So for simple sakes, if your GDP is 100 billion, you spend 2 billion. Each of the NATO countries is supposed to spend 2% of their GDP on defense. So that in the event that we got to go fight the Soviet Empire, everybody's got an army big enough to contribute to the cause, right? That's what it is. It's not about paying NATO. Now, yes, were there European countries that weren't doing that for a long time? Of course there were. Because they were like, fuck it, the United States is doing it and Russia's not doing shit right now. So we'd rather spend our money on things like universal health care, housing, taking care of our people. God, what would 5% of the U.S. GDP be? My God, I can't even like fathom what that would be.
oh wow,
What is our GDP? 30.
27.36 trillion.
Okay, so let's pull up a calculator, ladies and gentlemen. 27 trillion, 360 billion times 0.05. So what he's talking about is adding another, and we already spend $800 billion a year on defense. He's talking about spending another 570 billion, 470 to 570 billion a year on defense. On what? And I thought you guys were cutting the budget. Where's Elon with his $2 trillion worth of cuts?
We're gonna need that defense with us like pissing off every country out there.
So, do you want the upside? Because I have an upside for you.
Yeah.
If this is what his next 4 years is like, nothing's going to get done.
Yeah.
He will be as ineffective as he was his first term. His first term, the only thing he did was lower taxes for rich people, balloon the deficit, and screw up COVID. He basically didn't do anything else. He was never able to get anything real done. And I'll be honest, with a razor thin majority in the House and a bare majority in the Senate, I don't know what he's planning on doing. They're walking back the tariff talk. They're walking back the deportation talk. Right? Because I think that again, it makes for great campaign rhetoric for the mass deportations day one. Well, guess what? Now it's time to govern. You don't have the bodies, the manpower to deport every undocumented person in this country. Right? And you know how I know it's all BS? Because when Elon and them, did you see over Christmas when they were fighting about the H-1Bs?
No.
So that, like, Elon, the tech right, and the far right got into this big fight over the holidays about H-1B visas, right? And all the far right people were like, stop the H-1B visas. Stop them, stop them, stop them. And Elon's like, yeah, no. Nope, we need the H-1B visas. And we're going to do that. And then everybody's like, but Donald, what do you think? And Donald went, talk about it, I'm on Elon's side, right? And he pissed off the anti-migration right. He's like, no, we need to reform. We're not going to get rid of it. And now, the other day, Don came out and was like, I'll work with the Democrats on Dreamers. On the DACA people. Okay. But now his far right people are like, wait a minute, you're not supposed to be negotiating with the Democrats on the Dreamers. He doesn't really care. Again, it's great campaign rhetoric. And I'm sure he'll do something nominal when he comes into office. We're going to start with the criminals. Okay. Then what? Start talking to me when you start raiding dairy farms in Iowa. Okay. Or processing plants in, Missouri. In the states where it's really going to fuck them up. That's why I never bought it. I still didn't vote for the guy, and I think again, but that's the other reason why I think he's a paper tiger. Because, Don, I think you're a chicken. Remember that? Do you remember Back to the Future 3?
Remind me.
It's the one where they're in the Old West?
Yes.
And you remember Biff's like, and you remember how Marty used to get mad about being called chicken?
Yeah.
Right? And then, he's a yellow-bellied chicken. Right? Don's chicken. He's a coward. Okay? And I also don't think, again, he's a good marketer. He knows what he's doing. He's got a natural marketing ability. He knows if he goes to war with Denmark, his approval rating is going to drop into the 20s. And he can't stand it. He can't stand it because he wants everybody to love him. Canada doesn't want to be part of us. Although I did see Nate Silver. He posed on his Twitter account. He was like, what states would vote to leave to go to Canada? I was like, Washington. If you put a ballot initiative on Washington State today and said, simple majority vote, we go to Canada, we become part of Canada, that shit would pass. People would be like, dope, we're out of here.
I mean, there's a lot of upsides. There's a lot of upsides. I'm thinking one, the Krakens might be better.
If we were Canadian, our hockey
Yeah.
team would be better. That's a good point. That is an excellent point. If we were Canadian, our hockey team would automatically get better. That's true.
Oh God. Second, maple syrup would be cheaper for us because we're Canadians.
Yeah, maple syrup would be cheaper. Lumber would be cheaper because it's where all that stuff, you know. And we'd have universal health care.
Yeah.
And semi-legal prostitution.
What?
No,
Canada
yeah.
has-
Yeah, it's like semi-legal there.
What does that mean?
It's decriminalized, but there's very specific ways that it's decriminalized. It's actually going before their Supreme Court right now. I was listening to a podcast about it the other day, a news report, because there's a new case going to the Canadian Supreme Court to try and clarify some of the points on their rules. So it is not illegal to sell sex in Canada. Right?
Okay.
So if you want to say, as a person, I want to sell my body for sex, right? That is not illegal. Everything surrounding it is illegal, right? So if you were to start a service to be like security and drivers for escorts, right? The act of them being escorts is not illegal. But you being the driver is illegal. Does that make sense? So again, it's not illegal to do the actual act of selling sex. But if you were in any other way making any sort of money, there's any sort of business operation around it, that's illegal.
That's so weird.
That's why it's going back to the Canadian Supreme Court.
So weird. Okay. And I'm saying we as part of Canada already, we can fix that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really strange. Again, I was listening to a news report about it the other day because they were like, well, this is going on in Canada. I was like, that's neat.
That's so weird. But okay. Like the first thing that popped in my head when you were like, it's kind of, not illegal anymore. It's kind of picturing that like loophole that the Mormons go through where like if you can like lay on top of each other and have someone shake the bed or something.
Oh, soaking? Yeah, I've heard about that.
It's like, is that what we're talking about right
Nope.
now?
Again, look, I don't know what's going to take to get past this puritanical nonsense that these governments want to put into place. That doesn't work. But we've come far afield from our original topic, which is the crazy crap our president-elect is saying. By the way, the Supreme Court arguments about TikTok are tomorrow. They're tomorrow.
Oh.
So, yeah. So there you go. It's only going to get crazier from here. So